everyone, welcome to Fighting Over the Card Catalog, a snarky look back on young adult novels of the 80s and 90s. I'm Jess.
And I'm Steven, and I'm here to make my wife happy.
We're taking a journey to find out how many terrible and hopefully some not so terrible I can't help but laugh. Books from my youth I can get my husband to read before he reconsiders his whole marriage. Hi, did this book do it to you?
Oh, man.
That's why I had to start laughing.
Yeah, it was not fun.
No?
No, it was not.
It was pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd just be reading it on the couch, and I'd be falling asleep.
Uh-huh.
Because it was just that boring.
I was shocked you finished it last night, though. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that I would. I was almost asleep a couple of times.
I know. I was thinking.
I'd wake myself up. Okay, just get through this page.
I was thinking, okay, this is gonna have to wait, and I'm gonna have to knock one book off in next month, and it's gonna be like the only good one. So yeah, I was already trying to plan on that. But guess what? Do you know what yesterday was? January 29th?
Oh, you know what? I think it was my dad's birthday.
Okay, well, that's not what I meant, but... Okay, shout out to Steven's dad. Happy birthday. Here's your present / card / whatever. No, it was a 1-year anniversary of our publishing our first show.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many shows did we get in?
This is number 48.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we skipped 4 weeks, basically, but it's fine. It happens. So happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Hasn't it been the best year?
No.
Ouch. So this week's book that almost killed you was we're starting a new series. The Pen Pal series started with number 1, Boys Wanted. It was by Sharon Dennis Wyeth, published in 1989. Tell us about it.
Advertise for boys? Why not? There are no boys at the Alma Stevens School for Girls, and Lisa, Palmer, Shannon, and Amy don't want to spend every Saturday night up in their suite just eating pizza and complaining. So they advertise for pen pals. Male pen pals! Their ad works, maybe too well. Will their pen pal idea get them into big trouble with Miss Pren, the strict ed mistress? Can their pen pals really be as nice as they sound? And why is Shannon so afraid to meet her pen pal face to face?
Dun-dun-dun. So on a scale of 1 best book ever to the Dementor's kiss of 10, sucking the soul from your love of reading.
This one's going to be a 7 for me.
That is better than I thought it would.
Yeah, so it did have unique ideas.
Yeah.
But it was just such boring reading. It's the author's fault more than the idea's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, I give it a solid 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I like the concept, but there were some confusing just writing choices I thought that I'll get into later. But yeah, okay. Whew. At least we didn't have such a discrepancy as we did last week. My goodness. So, since we're on a brand new series, let's meet our new cast of characters. First, we have tall and willowy Palmer Durand from Palm Beach, Florida. Shoulder wavy length, long blonde hair. Okay, yeah, that's what it says. One description says shoulder length, and one says long hair. So, I don't know. Anyway, she's blonde. She's 13 and basically a horrible, whiny, complaining bitch.
Yeah.
Yeesh. We got Amy Ho, born in Taiwan, but she's lived all over the world. She's short and athletic looking, jet black hair cut into a spiked punky style. She plays the guitar and is also into sports. Also 13.
And good at math because
she's an Asian. You got to give it to the Babysitters Club for Claudia not being super good at math. Although Janine is, so Anyway, Lisa McGreevy is tall and dark-haired from Pennsylvania and into art. That's pretty much all we got on her. She's not the most interesting character. She's very nice, though. She's a very good friend. And then we have Shannon Davis, who's only 12. She is sandy-haired and breaks out from chocolate, apparently. She is not as wealthy as the other girls. She's there on scholarship, and she's also local. She's from the same town, which is interesting. So the girls are first-year roommates in Suite 3G in Vauxhall at Alma Stevens School for Girls.
No, it's 3D.
3D, my bad. Oh yeah. I wanted to tell you. A lot of this may be a little bit off because I did most of it voice to text. Yeah. So I tried to go back and correct things. But yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, my hand gets so tired a lot of the time.
Gotcha.
Lately to type. It was a lot easier, but yeah, it's not great. Anyways, the school, man, this is 1989, and they have a strictly skirts, blouses, and dresses dress code. But we learn later that's pretty old-fashioned anyway. So it's only the second day they've been there, but they're all hella concerned about the lack of BOYS, as Palmer says. There is like a brother school, Ardsley Academy nearby, and they have dances and such. But I mean, that's not enough for our heroines. I do appreciate in this book, though, that they're the same age as the girls in the Babysitters Club, but they act much more their age when it comes to dating and stuff like that. Amy and Palmer say, oh yeah, I've been on a date, but Amy's was in a group date, although they consider that a date later. And Palmer had her mom at the next table at her country club. But it's refreshing after all the BSC. Oh, I go on very serious dates with my poet boyfriend. Amy says at one point, CD is incredible, much better than my Walkman. I just thought it was very cute.
Yeah.
I know it was newish in 89. Right?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. I was still buying tapes at that time because CDs were too expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So at breakfast on Monday, Lisa says she has an idea for the whole boy problem. She wants to put an ad in the boys' school paper saying that the girls want pen pals. And the other girls are not big fans about this, and she feels really bad about it. Especially Palmer, saying what a stupid idea it is. And we wouldn't know what they'd look like. Ugh. So there's this older girl.
How did she say it? What if they're
disgusting or something?
Or gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this older girl, Kate. She's kind of like their RA, kind of in their dorm, and she's really nerdy, and so they don't like her. But she comes over and, I don't know, gets on to them about their dress code, even though they're all wearing skirts and blouses. She says Lisa's jean skirt is too short, and she hates all of Amy's outfit because, here we get our first fashion alert. She studied Amy's long, baggy black sweatshirt dress that was worn over black tights and black lace-up boots. She said that the headmistress would not consider an all-black ensemble appropriate school wear. Bitch, why not?
Yeah.
She gets on to Palmer then for wearing, like, a little bit of makeup, which is also against the rules. But she thinks boring old Shannon's outfit is fine. Poor Shannon wears very boring clothes because she's poor. She also lets Shannon know that she will let her be a gopher for the school paper. And Shannon's thrilled about that, even though the editor does not allow first years to write. This is enough for her. And then, seriously, what kind of whack school is this? At lunch, they have assigned seating.
Right.
That's weird. I mean, and it's just at lunch. So, I don't know. They have to sit with a teacher. It sounds like a cool one, at least.
Yeah.
And she has a very big crush on one of the few male teachers. And it's, they're 13. That's very fun to them. Um, so Shannon goes to see Kate at the newspaper office and gets her assignments, which are mainly like sweeping and opening the mail and typing things up. Real boring stuff like that. But the girls' main objection to putting in an ad in the paper was using their actual real names. So Lisa comes up with the idea to use a code name or something. And since they all live in Fox Hall, they're all like, oh, the Foxes. And they live in Suite 3D. So they're going to be the Foxes of the third dimension. They think that's very deep.
Which makes a lot more sense than if they lived in 3D.
And they decide, since Shannon's the only one who sees the mail when it first comes into the newspaper, they decide to have the letter sent there. So they finally all agree to do it. And here's the ad they decide to put in the Ardsley newspaper. Wanted. Boys who can write. All girls against single-sex education. Seek boy pen pals from Ardsley Academy. Send letters to the Foxes of the third dimension in care of Alma Stevens School for Girls. So it's been about 2 weeks since they put the ad in the paper, and they haven't gotten any letters back yet. But Amy has made chorus, so that's exciting, I guess. So Palmer's horrendous, and she's always putting... It translated to, she's always putting me down. Oh, no. Wow, she's that bad. No, she's always putting Amy down and saying, oh, you can't read music and you suck at singing. And, oh, she's just so terrible.
She is.
And she gets on to Shannon for daring to read in the living room. And she just always has something nasty to say about everyone. And I think I hate her a lot. And I can't believe the other girls still talk to her. So Miss Grayson, the cool teacher, comes into their suite with a copy of the Ardsley newspaper, asking if the girls know anything about this ad. It seems Miss Prynne, the headmistress, has a big problem with it. But Miss Grayson says she doesn't think the perpetrators will be in any big trouble. And Palmer lies on behalf of everybody else, saying they have no idea who put the ad in the paper or who these girls could be. And the other girls are pretty annoyed at her for just lying for them, and I don't blame them. So Shannon goes to the office early the next day, and in comes Kate with the mail. It turns out she's been picking it up this past week since the postmistress has been sick. And she's like, uh-oh, 2 more. And Shannon can see that, oh shit, they're letters from Ardsley. So Kate puts them in a big old envelope and says, I better hold on to these. They're evidence. And Shannon asks about them, and Kate says, whoever's been doing this will be in big trouble, despite what Miss Grayson said. So the Foxes of the third dimension decide that they have to go steal the letters out of Kate's room, because they are their letters. So
right.
They're not wrong about that. So they go in and steal them and take the letters back to their room. But Shannon realized, oh shit, she lost her pencil in Kate's room, which unfortunately has the name of her dad's garage on it. So she goes back to Kate's room, and turns out she's in there. And as they're talking, Kate notices that the envelope is gone, and the other girls decide to come in to find Shannon carrying the envelope with them. Kate's obviously pissed and takes the envelope back and kicks them out of her room. Which leads, of course, to Miss Prynne calling them into her office. And she seems to think this is some sort of sorority prank. And sororities are very much not allowed. And the girls are like, no, it was really actually just asking for pen pals. And Miss Prynne turns out thinking this is a rather bold idea, and thinks the art of letter writing should come back. So she pretty much gives her approval and gives them their letters. Huzzah! So they take their letters back and start reading them. and I'm just going to have to read some of them. They're so ridiculous. So, you foxes, I like your name. Does that mean you're foxy? I hope so. Write me about your dreams. Sigmund Freud. Yikes. Dear foxes, I am definitely an Earthman and would like to correspond with you. From Moose Hansen. Dear foxes, the last thing we want to do is write a bunch of girls. That's why we go to Ardsley, the Ardsley chapter of the WHC. Lisa has a brother who goes to Ardsley named Reggie, and he has told her that that stands for the Woman Haters Club.
Of course.
They're like incels in training, I think.
Yeah.
So, dear Foxy sisters, your ad revved my motor. If I had an airplane and I'd parachute over. Yours, Toady. Boys are cool. So finally they get to one letter that really revs their motors. The foxes of the third dimension, your idea is really deep. We are suffocating at Ardsley. In fact, we're dying. Revive us with your letters. The unknown. 4 guys from Ardsley. So they obviously decide this is the one to respond to. So they ask them to tell them all about themselves and to give them their real names, please. Amy and Palmer get into this stupid fight over Palmer having an ink stain on her sweater, and Amy's all like, well, your shit's all over the place. And they get into a bigger fight, and Amy's like, fine, I'll move my bed out into the living room. And then Palmer's all like, oh, that's really big, so I think I'll move out there. And the rest of the girls are like, no. And we learn that Amy's actually really upset because she got kicked out of chorus because Palmer's right and she sucks at singing. Everyone feels bad about that for her, and then Palmer's
they're saying
like,
she didn't have the voice for what they were singing, and that she has a rock voice.
Yeah. I just think they have a bad teacher, but...
And she couldn't read music. That's a pretty big deal for some things.
Yeah, but, like, she's 13, and she could be learning that.
Yeah, it's the first year at the school. It's the youngest grade for this school.
Right.
So they should have an introduction class.
They should.
Yeah.
Anyway, even Palmer feels bad for her, and she's like, well, maybe we should just switch roommates. But Shannon and Lisa are like, no, we're good. Thanks.
No, you's a bitch, and we don't want to room with you.
Oh, no. Oh, and like everybody just makes up really quickly or something. I don't know. We're all good. I don't know.
Somebody yelled.
Yeah.
And said, why can't we all just get along?
Probably Lisa.
They were like saying, well, really, if you look at it, you just need to straighten your stuff up because you have so much stuff and it's getting all over it's all over the room.
So suck it.
Yeah.
Palmer. Okay, big fashion alert. The girls are going on a bike trip to the Arboretum, so they get to have a very relaxed dress code, to say the least. Lisa, I just really need you all to picture this in your mind, please. Lisa was wearing pants that were hot pink with bright orange turtleneck sweater decorated with hot pink sequins and a long purple scarf. Amy was wearing black cowboy boots with gold tips. Please remember, they're riding bikes. And a black bodysuit and a Grateful Dead t-shirt. Palmer was wearing tweed pants. Oh, a tweed pantsuit with a wide-brimmed hat and Oxfords. They're 13. They're not 4.
Yeah, but it's still an age when you're trying to be more adult and changing tastes.
Yeah.
So you try things that don't necessarily work.
But you're bike riding. So the girls end up getting a packet of letters from the boys at Ardsley. They make a big to-do about choosing, like, who picks the letters first to read, and then each one of them has to read it out loud, and whoever they get, that's going to be their personal pen pal. And Palmer, of course, hates this idea because she's worried her boy won't be cute or will be a drip or something or disgusting. Lisa reads her letter first, and it says, "My name is Robert Williams, but you can call me Robbie. All I can say about my looks is I'm no 90-pound weakling. P.S. I have appeared as a centerfold. P.P.S. Naturally, we would like to know your true identities also. Since there are 4 of us and 4 of you, I suppose each unknown gets 1 fox for a pen pal. Please have my pen pal write me right away, telling her deepest dreams and desires, along with the vital statistics." So now they're all worried that they want, like, their bra size. Which Palmer really doesn't like because apparently she always stuffs her bra. Shannon's letter says, "Since you want to know, my name is Mars. If you need a description, here it is. I'm a god. P.S. Please send your own description." Palmer's says, "I think your idea to be pen pals is delightful. My name is John Adams," and I'm going to say it that way every time.
John Adams.
And I guess the best way to describe myself is to say that I'm a poet and a jock. I do think it would be better off in a co-educational school, even at our age. But I guess the coaches wouldn't like it because we guys would always be breaking our training. At this point, the thought of talking to a girl about anything sounds great, especially in a letter. Hope to hear from you soon. P.S. Naturally, I want to know something about my particular pen pal. And Palmer thinks he sounds super boring. You would think she would get into the jock part. But yeah. I guess the nerdiness or whatever overrules that.
He has a little bit of nerd in him, so yeah, no. Pass.
And finally, Amy's letter says, didn't transcribe that right. Do you, Fox? I don't know what that's. Dear Fox? I don't know. My name is Simmie, Simmie, Randolph III. I am indescribable. Oh, and apparently he had trouble describing indescribable, spelling indescribable, because he had to erase it a bunch of times. And Palmer's like making fun of that, of course. And also, of course, she wants to trade, but the other girls don't want to. So she's super all butthurt about it. I'm glad none of them just like give in to her.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. So Lisa calls her brother Reggie to ask about the boys, but he doesn't really know any of them. They're younger. So he's just like, he's seen Simmie once, and he says he's blonde and looks like an actor. Thank you, Reggie. But I do appreciate the realism in that. Like, a guy a couple years older is not going to pay attention to the new kids. So the girls each write a longer letter and more descriptive. And it's really just an excuse for some exposition for us to get to know the girls better. Shannon has a really hard time getting going because she really doesn't know what to say about herself, but she and Lisa have a good talk and it helps her to like see herself, and so she ends up writing her letter. They get letters back from the boys, and Palmer's has a poem from John Adams, but she thinks it's really lame, of course. And all the boys now have asked for pictures, which poses quite a conundrum for our 80s girls, because none of them have a recent picture, and especially not a camera. Remember that time?
Yes. Yeah.
And, I mean, I had a camera when I was that age. I had one of those, a 110 camera.
A 110, yeah. That's what I had.
Mine was really cool. It looked like my phone, which was one of those clear ones, so you can see inside it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's hella cool. Thank you. But Shannon says, she bets they have some cameras at the paper, so she'll see what she can do with her connections. Only Kate's there at the office, but Shannon asks what the camera policy is for the paper's Polaroid. And Kate says it's only for official business, but she guesses that since it's just for the pen pal thing, and she does still owe her for getting in trouble with Miss Prynne, and it's not like she's asking for like one of the nicer cameras. But she does say she should be the only one to use it though, so she'll take the pictures for them. All of a sudden, she's very nice and lovely. And also, there's a side story going on with Kate. Shannon says she saw a picture of a boy in her room, and this boy used to date her older sister. Okay, I kept getting confused. The newspaper editor is named Doreen or Dolores, and her sister is the other one.
Dolores. Doreen is her sister.
Okay. Wait, which one?
Doreen is her sister.
Okay, I already forgot. Okay. So this guy's name is Bob, and Dolores, the newspaper editor, said that some younger girl at Alma used to have a crush on him. So the next morning, they're waiting for Kate to get there to take their pictures. And Shannon discovers she has a big old zit on her chin. Oh no! Because they stole a shit ton of food from the cafeteria, which I feel like that's a whole thing that, I read about or saw on TV a lot of like kids at camp or whatever stealing food from the cafeteria. And it was like nothing. It was like, it was a big sneaky deal. But
right.
Now as an adult, I'm like, you're stealing. That's expensive.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's like, I'm sure they had this stuff like measured out about what they're going to do with it and planned out.
Like they ate all these chocolate chips and are like, well, that you don't have dessert for Friday.
Yeah. So anyways, my adult mind's very upset about it. I'm like, oh. Anyways, Shannon got this zit from eating all the chocolate chips. Apparently, that's not true, though. You know that, right?
Yes, I know that. Yeah, that's a old wives' tale.
Mm-hmm. So, the other girls say she looks just like her sister, who is beautiful, and they bring out a picture of her. But unfortunately, when Kate gets there, she sees it and recognizes that she was a girl who's dating Bob. So she gets mad at Shannon for not disclosing this. When the other girls leave to go to class, Shannon decides to send that picture of her sister instead.
Because of her zit.
Yeah, apparently it totally stands out in both pictures. Which basically means she's catfishing our poor Mars. So we hear more from the boys. In Lisa's letter from Rob, he lets her know that he really likes turtlenecks, especially red ones like she was wearing in the picture. And she was wearing like some sort of metal or pocket watch around her neck on a necklace. And he really liked that too. He really likes everything about her. And he tells her about his time in Alaska, working on a wildlife project, taking care of muskox. So he sounds pretty interesting. Okay, this is the entire letter from Simi to Amy. Your haircut is rad. Also, those are some amazing earrings. I hope to meet you someday in person. He's a very verbose boy.
Yeah, Mars is even worse.
True. Yes. John Adams. It sounds pretty sad that Palmer didn't like his poem because she, of course, just like said it back in her letter. He's like, well, I am also a jock, and I think physical fitness is very important, doesn't she? He says his dad still works out, even though he's almost 40.
The reason why is great.
Yeah, he's worried because what if there's a national emergency and he has to run away from
He wants to be able to run and not have to rely
on transportation.
Yeah.
You don't know what will happen. I love this paranoid 40-year-old Mr. Adams. um, yeah, and all Mars has to say to Shannon is, "You are a goddess." However, none of them sent a picture as the girls requested. Shannon says, "Well, I mean, looks aren't everything." And Palmer's just like, "Yeah, yes, they are." Then she basically says that Rob is probably a liar and Simi can't spell. And of course, everyone, especially Amy, gets all upset with her. And Palmer said, "Oh, Palmer goes, I wasn't being mean," Palmer whined. "And why is everybody always taking Amy's side? No one ever thinks about me." So they decide to send the boys a group letter asking again for pictures, saying it was only fair, since they already sent theirs. But the boys send one back saying, "Oh, we don't have any pictures for you. And does this mean you don't want to write?" And the girls decide, okay, we'll still write you, but here's some questions we want you to answer. And they're things like, if you were a flower or a plant, what would you be? If you were a flavor of ice cream, what would you be? And it's like 6 questions, maybe. And
it's maybe 10. Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't very many.
No. But they get a letter back just from Rob to Lisa saying, "The other guys in the suite asked me to write you that the professors are really piling it on here, so we cannot answer your questions as the list is very long. So long for now."
Yeah, that's bullshit.
It's bullshit, boys. But good news, the school is having a Halloween trickster mixer, and the Ardsley boys will be invited.
I would say at the age of 13, I would have readily answered those questions and sent a whole bunch back on my own.
Mm-hmm. So this is great for everyone except for Shannon, who of course is freaking out about, Mars seeing her and not her sister. So she finally has to fess up to the girls about what she did. And Amy's like, "No problem. My mom made me a refrigerator costume one time. And so we'll do that for you." And Amy says that she's going to be Shira, Princess of Power.
Mm-hmm.
And Palmer's like, "No, you can't be Shira. You have black hair and Shira doesn't. And so I'm going to be Shira because I have blonde hair." And then later on, she changes her mind and says she's going to be Princess Diana. This girl. Shannon goes into Kate's room to give her a receipt for the paper and also ends up apologizing about not telling her about her sister. And then she tells Kate about her whole catfishing problem. And Kate says she thinks a refrigerator costume sounds like a pretty cool idea. And it does sound cool. Like, you could open it up and there are like fruit and all sorts of food in there and everything. And you put your head in a cereal box on the top of the fridge. I'm like, that's really cute, actually. So I'm with Kate here. And then it gets good. Kate's like, "Don't you think it's dumb to be going through all this suffering just because of a boy? I mean, boys aren't everything." And I now stand Kate. She's so much better than Palmer and anybody else in this book. And she says, "I can't let the fact that I've never been on a date rule my whole life." And Shannon is appalled by this news. She goes, "Kate was 15. How old were you when you went on your first date?"
I don't know, probably. Well, it's according to what you call a first date, I guess.
One-on-one.
Probably.
I mean, you could be dropped off by your parents, let's say.
Probably 14.
Wow.
13 or 14. Late 13 to 14.
I was 19.
Yeah?
Yeah. I was homeschooled, remember, for the majority of high school.
Okay.
But boys never liked me in middle school even, so. Yeah. I never got asked to a dance or anything. Yeah.
I probably went to dances before then.
Uh-huh.
or we just met somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
But in the 8th grade, I probably went to the movies or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have given anything for that. But anyway, so I was not appalled that Kate was 15 without dating. They also start criticizing Dolores and the paper about how boring it is this year. And they agree it should probably focus on like outside events, like the pollution in the nearby river, because like both schools use it for rowing and stuff. And then they start talking the whole school and about how old fashioned it is. They have like quilt making as an extracurricular, which I guess is fine. And they do too, but they're like woodworking or auto mechanics would be really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have to do
I don't know how big a school that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I know we had a fairly small, like, high school. There weren't a whole lot of extracurriculars.
Yeah.
You had the basics, art, band, choir, FFA, because
of course, it's Texas.
Yeah.
Did you not have home ec or shop or anything?
No home ec. I think
at either school, either high school.
I don't know a whole lot about the Palestine High School. That was a little bit bigger, so it's possible that they did.
They would have had more.
I mean, we had technical theater as an extra there, so yeah.
That's the best one.
Yeah, that was great. But at the high school I graduated from, I don't even think they had shop. Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, it's still going. Sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
That's surprising that they didn't, have something sexist. How were girls supposed to know how to make a home?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. At my middle school, we had both. And you're required, everyone was required to take both.
We did have something in middle school, but it was like, a part of a semester that we did some home economic stuff.
Yeah.
Learn how to write a check.
Oh, we did that in math.
Yeah. That may have been math.
Yeah. We had home ec half the year, and one semester was cooking, and one semester was sewing. And then we had, it probably wasn't just called shop, it was something.
Oh, and we had computer science.
Oh, yeah.
Which I know because I won the computer science award my senior year.
We had like computer in like my Catholic school. But then we just had typing at my middle school. Oh, the one year
we had typing.
Yeah. The one year I went to middle school in Connecticut before we moved, we had like some sort of great something. It was, we like programmed and like, made like Legos move, like made little Lego robot things. I don't remember a lot about that, but it was great. But a lot more money at Connecticut school. But yeah, at the other middle school we did like half a year on like drafting and stuff like that. I was not good at that. And then the other quarter of the year and doing actual shop stuff, which was super fun. I learned how to use a router and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. We made lamps. We like made a base from wood and then filled a soda can with concrete with like the rod, for the electrics coming up.
Okay.
Yeah. And then learned how to wire the switch and everything, which isn't difficult, but it was cool for a 12-year-old to learn.
Yeah.
Or a 13. Yeah.
Nice.
Do you remember OK Soda? It was out for a very short amount of time.
No. I don't remember.
I couldn't even tell you what it tastes like, but it was a red, black and gray and white can, and my room was red, black, and white, so it was dope. That's what I used. I wish I still had that. Anyway, so yeah, sexism abounds at Alma Stevens, though. Because also the career file is terrible. Like, whatever, I guess, is to, like, give them information on what they can do. But it's only offering things like teaching and librarians, which are absolutely great and valid careers,
And
obviously.
nurses.
And nurses.
Yep.
But the girls are like, there should be lawyers and astronauts. Yep. And Shannon tells Kate, actually, that's what she wants to be, is an astronaut. And Kate's like, hey, that's what your costume should be. That way you'd be completely hidden. And the boys end up accepting the girls' official invitation and tell them to look for the 4 musketeers. Hey, kids! Do you love fighting over the card catalog?
Totally!
Now you can find your favorite podcast all over the World Wide Web. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, and Pinterest at Fighting Over the Card Catalog, or on Twitter at Card Catalog Pod. And as a special bonus, head over to our very own website, fightingoverthecardcatalog.com. And now you can get the inside scoop on co-host Jess on Instagram and Twitter at Jess Digress.
Whoa!
Next, you can become a junior cataloger just by sharing us with your friends and rating and subscribing on Apple Podcasts.
Whoa!
Available wherever podcasts are sold. Podcasts not actually sold, but available on all podcatchers for free. Junior catalogers under the age of 18, ask your parent or guardian's permission before downloading. Why is Lisa reading with a flashlight in their bedroom? They're in a bedroom, which is off of a suite.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, who's going to, like, see
Right.
the light on and her get in trouble? I don't know. It's just a weird, random thing.
Maybe it's just that the light switch is across the room and she doesn't want to get up once she's ready for it to go to sleep.
Get a lamp.
Yeah.
You're not the poor one. So, the night of the dance, Amy goes as Joan Jett, which tracks. Lisa is a peasant, complete with an off-the-shoulder blouse and bare feet all night, even though it's freezing. And Palmer ends up going as Shira after all. I guess maybe because it's hotter than Princess Di. I don't know. And Shannon's there in her astronaut costume with a bike helmet with an added-on visor thing, and no one can hear her, and she can't hear anyone else. Did you ever wear or not wear something stupid, like weather-wise, like Lisa goes barefoot? I mean, you're in Texas, I don't know. Like, so you weren't embarrassed or whatever.
I guess I don't understand the question.
Like, I refuse to wear earmuffs in Minnesota because it looked geeky. I thought. And I do remember have the story of I had to walk a half a mile uphill both ways to school in middle school. And so, like, people, like buses would pass me walking. And so a good amount of kids saw me and I was like, I just can't wear earmuffs.
Huh.
Yeah. And I did pay for it. Like, I got some amount of frostbite. Like, I got, like, blisters on my ears.
Oh.
Yeah. And that hurt like shit. But it was worth it.
But at least the kids didn't make fun of your earmuffs.
I mean, 7th grade is harsh. So, yeah, that sort of thing. Did you ever do that sort of thing?
Not that I can recall.
Good for you.
I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of choices when it came to clothes, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you could have left something off like I did, even though I had a perfectly good set of earmuffs.
I remember, like, wearing something that was unnecessary, like wearing a light jacket when it was really, really hot outside.
Oh my God, really? Because it looked cool?
Just because it looked better than the shirt I had on.
Oh, okay, sure. So they get to the dance and it's Shannon gets bumped into by a dude in a chicken head. And the other girls meet up at the punch table after looking for the 4 musketeers. And they hadn't found them, but they all saw different chicken head boys. I wonder what that means. That couldn't be a Chekhov's gun situation couldn't. And we find out
What does that mean?
It means if there's a gun introduced in the first act, it's definitely going to be used in the third.
Gotcha.
And we find out right away. There's no mystery to it. They see the four musketeers and go over to meet them, and these boys have no fucking idea.
Do we know you?
But then they suddenly realize they're surrounded by four chicken head boys. And shocker of shockers, it's the unknowns. Wow. And the boys say it's a long story about what happened with the costumes. But we find out later it's just that the other guys got to the costume room first. And the chicken heads were all that were left of four things. And it's not a long story. Anyways, they're all hot enough, even John Adams, for the couples to split off and do their own thing. And so Mars and Shannon try to talk, but the helmet is just too problematic. And so she has a bit of an internal struggle, but she eventually decides she just has to bite the bullet and take it off because, like, what if there's another dance where they meet up and it's not a costume thing? So she takes off the helmet and Mars is shocked and really hurt and angry. And I don't blame him because he thinks, like, the real Shannon Davis is playing a trick on him. So she runs back home. And a few days later, the other girls they get letters saying how great they looked, and the boys tell them a bit more about themselves. When Shannon comes in to tell them, she gets to write a whole article for the paper about girls' schools, and also that she got a letter from Mars, surprisingly, in response to a secret letter that she had sent him to explain the whole situation. Because she didn't want him to think that anybody was playing games with him or anything. And it turns out he understands. He had actually lied about his name. His name is Arthur Martinez. And I wonder, is there some, like, little bit of racism under there? Because he's Hispanic?
I don't know.
Anyways, it turns out he was actually relieved once he got over the shock of it all. Because Dolores' picture seemed really sophisticated, and that makes sense because she's older. And so they all decide they're going to keep writing, and, quote, "This is only the beginning." I bet you're happy to hear that.
No.
No?
Nope.
Do you have a favorite part other than the book ending?
Nope.
I like the environmental and feminist issues being brought up. And I really hope that continues into later books. I don't remember if it does or not.
I liked when the principal lady just was like, "Oh, that's it in a sorority thing? Yeah, fine. Here's your letters."
Okay. And it's actually for it.
Need to learn how to write.
Yeah, and she's not wrong. All right, here's where my big issue comes in. There were a few, like, problems that were made out to seem like they're a really big deal, and yet they immediately turned out to not be. Like the sorority issue, the boys not being able to be the musketeers, like, they bring up, like, the mixers before sucked, and then all of a sudden, like, without any explanation of why, this one is, like, super awesome and popular, and all the boys come, and like, why did Palmer even throw out that she'd changed her mind to be Princess Di? There's no explanation of why she changed her mind, and, I mean, I don't know, is it just to throw a bit of quirkiness in there or something? It's very confusing.
Yeah.
It's like there's no resolution or explanations or
reason.
Yeah, no reasoning. So, and so I'm really hoping that the feminist agenda part of it is not just thrown aside, like those other things are. That it's not just something that's brought up once. Right. Which it might not be, because it does come back around with her saying, she gets to write a article, but that may be all we see of it. I don't know.
Right.
Man, I thought about it. but I don't think we learned anything. Did you? That you hate this author?
Not really. I mean, I can't think of any like. And
Even
now, the more you know.
Yeah, even anything funny. Yeah. Anyway.
Maybe don't send your sister's picture and say it's yours.
Yeah, catfishing is bad.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that. Unless you're on the circle. So current reads, what you got?
Okay, so I'm currently reading Revan.
Revan?
Which is the first in that Star Wars series.
Okay.
So I've got the first and the fourth left to go. I don't remember.
How is that going? Is it confusing at all?
No, they're pretty much, so far, the first two were kind of independent stories, so.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah. And then I just finished Nemesis Games, which is the Expanse book 5 or 6.
Uh-huh.
Very good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm really digging those books. There's one more on audiobook, and then there's some novellas that like go in between the books.
Oh, right.
And then the last one, the library only has in book form.
Oh, no.
Not as an audiobook.
Is it very new?
I don't know. I need to look it up because I looked at the other libraries and they don't have it either. They don't even have the book. So, yeah.
So it might be. And so maybe an audiobook is forthcoming?
Maybe. Yeah, I was looking to see if there was a way for me to recommend the audiobook. And it wouldn't come up, so maybe not.
So I'm almost done rereading The Vanishing Stair by Maureen Johnson, the second in the Truly Devious series. Yeah, I'm almost done, and so I'm very excited to finally get to The Hand on the Wall, the new one that I have not read. Also, I'd like to give a shout out and a thank you to Maureen and the Says Who podcast because they retweeted a tweet I made about my fangirling, and so we got a bit of an uptick in listeners this past week. I don't know if we got any new subscribers, but a bunch more people listened to it, so thank you. Okay, so our next book is going to be Babysitter's Club number 13, but get this. You might love the title. Goodbye, Stacy, goodbye.
No. If it was goodbye, Christy, goodbye.
Uh-oh. Boo. I'm sorry. There is an R.I.P. Christy later. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so that's it for this week. We gotta get to watching the finale of The Good Place, and I'm gonna cry. And anyways, thank you so much for listening. We're rereading the books of your childhood.
So you don't have to.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.